Hey guys, Dan Heilman back with another video. Today we're going to be focusing mainly on Litecoin, which has a beautiful little breakout on the daily chart. I should have known that we were going to get a breakout here because actually on Luxfolio, one of the Litecoin treasury companies, we had a nice huge candle yesterday, which was almost a 30% candle. It did end up retracing a little bit, up 10.75%. For some reason, these treasury companies, they seem to like sniff out big pumps, and I don't know really why. Maybe whales put big orders in these treasury companies, and then they, before they do a big buy on the coin itself. Now, we do have two treasury companies for Litecoin. We have Lits and we have Luxfolio, a Canadian company. Lits is an American company, US company. So a lot of the miners have been doing very well, and treasury companies, a lot of them have been doing quite good, and they're all gapping up again today. So you can see Hive up. These are all Bitcoin treasury and mining companies. CLSK, Riot, IREN. These are all up. Bitfarms way up. I have a very large positions in a lot of these. It's my main stock portfolio is all crypto related coins. So that's what we got going. Another one, Wolf, is doing another big gap up as well. So a lot of these are doing very well. The main S&P 500, the main stock market here is kind of just teetering around on all-time highs. Kind of interesting, the Camel Finance Indicator did pick a high probability daily cycle low, meaning we should not trade below $667. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. And usually, it does seem that crypto is pretty much pegged to the stock market. Unfortunately, it should decouple or can decouple. Gold looks like we did have a big pullback in gold, but this one has been pumping as well. A lot of people talk about the gold Bitcoin chart, so we'll take a look at that, but we'll focus mostly on Litecoin. I just want to hit Bitcoin real quick because it does lead the pack. So if we go to another one, let's go down here and we'll go to Bitcoin divided by gold. So if we go to like the weekly, we'll clean up the chart here for you guys a little bit. This is what we got going on. So we've basically been kind of hugging this line, I don't know, something like that, right? So we've been kind of following this line, and it looks like we pretty much bounced off of it again, kind of front ran it a little bit, but Bitcoin has been kind of weakish compared to gold, at least since 2000. I'm sorry, it's been going up against gold, but recently in this year, right, since basically the beginning of the year, it's kind of been trending down. You can see Bitcoin divided by gold is below the bull market support band, which is these white moving averages right here. So that it, shows a little bit of weakness, but that's also a great time, if you're fully in gold, which I doubt anyone who watches this channel is, this would be probably a good time to rotate into Bitcoin, because I think Bitcoin is going to start outperforming versus gold. Now, this is a good metric because normally, you look at Bitcoin versus US dollars, but US dollars only go down. So it makes sense that Bitcoin should go up against the US dollar, a currency that only goes down. So we'll just hit the price action real quick on Bitcoin. What do I think is going to happen here? I still have the same target of what's going on. I think we're going to pump into, I don't know, maybe the 20th or, a couple more weeks here. And then I think we'll finally see a pullback here. We'll see what happens. We do have a little bit of bearish divergences on the RSI. This indicated by this red here. The indicator I use for this is just RSI with divergences. It's just a regular RSI chart, but it changes colors based on, the type of divergences we have. So you can see we've had a little bit of a bearish divergence. The price is kind of getting overextended, and now it's kind of playing out, and the RSI is resetting on the 4-hour. So go to the daily. We had a bearish divergence up here at the top, and it's kind of played out already, and the RSI has pulled back a little bit. If we go to like the weekly, we still haven't had a huge push in RSI. I'm expecting that to happen, I don't know, over the next month or two. Usually October is one of the most bullish months for Bitcoin, so I'm expecting a big pump from Bitcoin here. Ethereum, kind of similar story. It's kind of just been consolidating near all-time highs. I'm expecting a big pump through the all-time high. Ethereum does lead the pack in terms of altcoins. So when Ethereum comes and pushes through this all-time high and continues to close above all-time highs. That's usually when we see some sort of an alt season. Litecoin, obviously, that's probably why you clicked the video, because of the thumbnail talking about Litecoin. You can see we have a huge breakout on Litecoin. So we were kind of trading in this bull flag. A bull flag is basically when you get a big pump and then the price consolidates down into the right in a channel. You can, say it was like a falling wedge, which you could kind of draw a little bit differently, right? If you were to, where's my line? If you were to like draw something like this, it's kind of like, all right, maybe we were in a falling wedge pattern, like something like that. Or it can be a bull flag, which is more, symmetric top to bottom lines. But as you can see, we have pulled out of this and seen a nice little pump. As I mentioned, the treasury companies, at least Luxfolio, moved first. We have a big push here. I do have a big leverage trade open on Litecoin. I like to keep that one running. I'm still targeting much higher prices, much higher prices. So I use Bitunix. It's my favorite exchange. There's actually an event going on right now with a 20% bonus. Whatever you deposit, you get 20% back in USDT. So it's a great time to sign up for an account if you want. You can also buy spot, and they also have no KYC. Litecoin has a privacy feature. So if you want to be a little bit more private about your purchases, you can do no KYC on Bitunix. They don't report. You only need an email address. You can sign up in like 10 seconds. So feel free to use that. It helps me out and it helps you guys out. It gives you lower fees and a nice 20% back. So that's pretty cool. But I have those leverage trades open right now on Bitunix. There is some other confluence that I'll talk about on Litecoin dominance and Litecoin Bitcoin. As you can see, Litecoin dominance, let me clean it up a little bit here, has been also in this bull flag, right? So we've had a big pump off of these lows right here. We're kind of following this trend line. Boom, we pumped up. Now we came down and we now have broken above the bull market support band. We've broken above it one time, came back down. So we had a nice little pump here. The Camel Finance indicator said daily cycle low at this point, which was a great pick again, right there. And then if we go talk about Litecoin Bitcoin, I think I posted this yesterday or maybe the day before. Litecoin Bitcoin was like the only, what am I doing here? Litecoin Bitcoin was one of the only things that was green. So everything was red and Litecoin was not. So that was another indicator that, we're probably coming to a little pump area. Another thing is, as you can see, we're kind of just been like slowly curling, right? So we've been going down, and then it's kind of been slowing. And then now it looks like maybe we're ready to start going back up. So that's another kind of bit of confluence here that looks good. This is on the weekly too, guys. This is the weekly. So if we go even to the daily, zoom in a lot here, you can see, you can see kind of the same thing, right? So it came down, it's been slowing down. We had this big pump, which looked like a reversal and ended up being a little bit of a fake out. We made a lower low here, and then now it looks like we're breaking out again. So are we going to make a lower low again? I don't know. This could be a fake out. We could see some downside. So if you are trying to leverage trade Litecoin, just, only put in 25 or 50% of your position and hold more capital if we go any lower. We have seen quite a big move, so we might see a small pullback, but I do expect this to continue, especially over the next couple months. I think Litecoin divided by Bitcoin will outperform. You can see it's doing very well, 5%, and really nothing else has been doing that well besides, it looks like maybe Wild, which is wild. There's another one, Zora, that's been just going insane. Let's check Litecoin versus Ethereum as well. Litecoin versus Ethereum, you can see, got left on that. Okay, so here we go. Kind of a similar thing. We were rounding, came back up, and now came back down, and now it looks like, we kind of had like a little bit of like a leveling phase here, but kind of the same thing. We're kind of coming down, rounding, and now we're actually just getting above the bull market support band. So we haven't been above the bull market support band since back here, the end of last year. You can see we actually held above the bull market support band for a while. We kind of broke down, and then now, Ethereum was doing very poorly, so it kind of makes sense. And then it's been ETH season. That's why, it's been going down against ETH. But now it looks like we are trying to close above the bull market support band for Litecoin Ethereum pair. So I also want to show you the risk metric for Litecoin because I think it's one of the highest reward to risk out there, right? So the lowest risk to reward is another way to say it, right? Lowest risk, highest reward. How about that? That makes a little bit more sense. But if we go to the screener, this is Into the Cryptoverse from Ben Cohen. This is a paid subscription, so you won't have access to this unless you have the subscription from him. But right now, Litecoin is at a 0.54 risk. So I've talked about this before. I want to reiterate this because I think this is very interesting. If I hit back real quick, let me just show you this first. So Litecoin has a 8 on his confidence, meaning he's one of the most confident on any of his coins in the price prediction on this coin. Okay, so it's an 8 right now. The higher the number, the better the confidence, right? So 9 Bitcoin is like really high, and then XRP is really high. You can see the XRP risk metric is already at 0.72, meaning it is very risky to buy XRP at this price. And then if we go to another one like Dogecoin, it's about the same risk level as Litecoin right now, but it's kind of interesting here, right? So the all-time high was $400, $412 or something for these last two markets. And you can see Litecoin has hit one risk 3 times in a row. So 3 times in a row, it hit one risk. The one risk now for Litecoin is $1,000 at $1,009. Okay. So even if we get to 0.8 risk only, that's still basically the all-time high. So in summary, Litecoin is at least going to go to $410, if not $1,000. So that's where I'm thinking I'm going to start selling. What I'll do is I'll put a small percent of my holdings to sell at like $410, another small percent at $514, a bigger chunk at like $640, a bigger chunk at $800, and then the final amount at $1,000. I will probably keep some on cold storage for a while, just to hold. I think the only thing I'll really hold is Bitcoin and Litecoin long term on cold storage, just because they're both proof of work. They're both a low cap coin, right? So they're capped at 21 million for Bitcoin, 84 million for Litecoin. So I think it's just kind of something that if you want to speculate on an asset long term, I think they're two really good assets to do that with. I don't know that I'd hold any other altcoins historically. I've been a Litecoin investor since like 2017, and the price has held up fairly well compared to some of the coins. It's still around. It's got a lot of use case. It's very cheap to transfer. It has privacy features if you want to use those as well. They're optional. You can turn them on and off. But I just think this is a really good risk to reward compared to a lot of other coins. The only other thing that's even really remotely that close is anything that's kind of below like a 0.5, right? So XRP risky, Ethereum risky, Solana even risky. Once you get down here into Litecoin, you have Cardano a little bit less risky, but there's not really a huge use case for Cardano. So I mean, this is up a little bit even with the pump, right? So even before this, it was even lower, right? It was like 0.4, so it was even lower on the risk here. I've been telling people to buy, under $100 for a long time now. Dogecoin, Hedera, Avalanche, Sui, you can see a lot of these, but the confidence is lower. And that's where, what's the odds that these are actually going to play out? Like Polkadot is very low risk and it could go a lot higher, but his confidence is only 1 in his formula here to get this risk metric. So I do think Polkadot is a decent one. They've just changed it so that it's deflationary instead of inflationary, and it's a very low risk. So I do think Polkadot will do well, and that's one of the other ones that I'll have as one of my bigger bets here. But yeah, that's what I got going on for Litecoin. Again, we've been breaking out of this. If you zoom out even more, we basically had this huge trend line from up top here in the last bull market down through here, and we've consolidated and broke out of this. All right, interesting. On the 3-day chart, the Camel Finance indicator picked a daily cycle low. What about the weekly? Interesting. It picked it down here. That's a pretty good pick, eh? That's a pretty good pick down at $70. Interesting. So yeah, that's what we got going on for Litecoin. I'm super bullish on Litecoin, have been for a long time. You can see the floor has just been steadily increasing. Of course, we have had inflation, so that makes sense. Again, as I mentioned, the US dollar only goes down. So it's better to hold these risk assets. I think things like altcoins are really good for trading in these 4-year cycles. I've held a lot of altcoins for a long time, and they've never really done better than Bitcoin besides BNB. That's my only long-term hold that's done better. I bought a bunch of BNB at like $7. When I bought Litecoin around, okay, so this was what, 2018, beginning of 2018. I did purchase Litecoin at the same time, but if you see in 2018, beginning of 2018, I was buying Litecoin for like 240 bucks, 250 bucks. So you can see I'm a little bit down on my investment. I did buy more once the price came down. But it's just, be careful about holding altcoins really, really long term. As I said, though, Litecoin was one of the only ones that I would consider doing that with, a small percentage of my portfolio. The rest I'm looking to trade in 4-year cycles. That's just kind of what I am doing now. So I am expecting Bitcoin and all of the altcoins to get a very big pullback in 2026. I am a believer of the 4-year cycle. I know some people are not, but anyways, this is gonna be pretty much it for the video. Here's the 4-year cycle if you don't know what it is. I was expecting the top for Bitcoin to be about right now. This was my prediction. I think I made a prediction like 2 years ago. One of the first YouTube videos I ever made on cryptocurrencies. I made this prediction that it would break down from this price. That it would break into this price, 218 by this month. Obviously, I'm off by a while, but maybe we're just running a little bit late. That's totally possible. If we do run an extended late cycle, sometimes that means we will find the bottom a little bit quicker. So, I was predicting a long time ago that the bottom is going to be somewhere in, basically a year from today. So we'll see if that plays out. We'll see how much higher we go, when it tops, and then when that comes out. But this is just based on past performance, what we've done. If you draw some logarithmic curves here, you can see we've kind of been following this for a while. So we will see what happens. And that's going to be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, we have a promotion right now on Bitunix. If you want to sign up and you haven't already, you get a nice little bonus for depositing on there, and you get lower fees just using my affiliate link. Helps me out, helps you guys out. So appreciate the support. If you want to help, also, you can hit that like, hit that subscribe button. And I'm looking for some very large upside on Litecoin. I think we're going to break this range fairly soon. Once we get above this top and start, we've kind of had this like window here that we've kind of just been rejected in multiple times. So if we can get above that, that's when we'll really start to see some outperformance on Litecoin. We've seen some of the other higher cap coins running a lot, so I'm expecting this one to run as well. So anyways, that's it for the video. We'll see how the stock market opens today. Have a great day, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys.